oftentimes, not all, but they can care less about how much it costs. They can care less about the security, right? And this isn't an insult to engineers. It's just their directors, their VPs told them, hey,
it's their job.
It's out the door, not today, not tomorrow. I need this out the door
yesterday.
Get it out. And they have this pressure to meet these deadlines. So you have to be, as GRC pro, security pro, you have to be empathetic to that, right? And the better you understand them and what their goals are, the better, you can meet them where they're at. And that's when the negotiation starts,
Welcome everybody to another edition of the Tech Woke Podcast. I am your host, Chris, an RMS specialist in the Govtech space. And in today's podcast, we have a great guest. He's going to help educate you on cloud environment in the Govtech space and just talk about the cloud in general in the public sector. He's a speaker, he's an RMS specialist, a GRC specialist, and a cloud specialist. Without further ado, Abdie Mohamed, how you doing today, brother?
My brother, what's going on?
It's good.
I'm blessed, man. Thank you for the warm introduction, brother.
Yeah, ever since I saw you at Thanksgiving, everybody at Thanksgiving, hey, you need to talk to Abdie. You need to talk to Abdie. You need to talk to. Then we talked. We had a conversation. Yeah. Then we got in contact, and I was just so happy to get you on the podcast. How's this Saturday going?
Man, my Saturday's going amazing. I love being in the DMV area. I feel like I see my uncles and cousins everywhere. I'm Somali, folks, in East Africa, and it's just such a warm, loving, group of people out here. And yeah, my Saturday's going well. I'm looking forward to this pod.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of your cousins, uncles, and then being a Somali, y'all killing it out here. All the Somalis I know killing it. You got a Hurlane, you got a Yasmin's. Y'all just killing this space, man. What's it? What y'all got? What they teaching y'all at a young age?
Well, first off, shout out to those lovely women.
They're killers.
They are killing it, man.
Yeah, they killing it.
Amazing work, and they have big hearts.
Yeah.
Definitely dope human beings. I would say, I guess education is a strong value in the Somali community, and in general, we are seeing a lot of women who happen to be Somali, for lack of a better word, dominate different domains.
All of y'all.
Healthcare, cybersecurity, we're seeing a strong emergence right now, and it's pretty cool to see because I have 7 sisters.
Oh, 7 sisters. Oh,
7 sisters.
Oh.
I have 1 older sister, and 6 younger sisters and 1 younger brother. So just seeing that, all the women throughout the Somali community doing big things, such as Yasmin and Hulalan, it's a very beautiful thing to see. And I think I could say that good parents, good family values contribute to that, and that strong support system contribute to that. At least that's I can speak for me. That's what contributed to the successes and wins I've had so far.
Okay, yeah, because I've been seeing it, and then like you said, they all have very, very big hearts. Y'all just giving, and y'all always helping as much people as y'all can. So I love that. Have you been watching any new anime?
Yeah, man, how much time you got?
Nah, we're gonna touch back. We'll touch back at that. We'll touch back at that because I can talk to. This could probably be a whole podcast. We'll get back into it.
After hours, Tech Woke.
After hours. Actually, that's a good name.
Yeah.
After hours.
Yeah.
So tell me, you worked in different fields. You worked in GRC. You worked in RMF. You worked in, you're doing more of the cloud compliance. Are you doing cloud compliance now?
Yeah. So I'm a cloud advisor. I spend about 70% of my day-to-day advising, and about 20 to 30%, maybe 20 to 20% actual engineering work. So a lot of my role is making sure that I work with different programs, different teams, and help them understand what cloud technology is and how to use it effectively. So what goes into that is, hey, here's what cloud is. Here's how you can leverage cloud for your use case. Here's some architecture diagrams that you can look at that could, give you some guidance on how to do cloud effectively. Here's some things you need to consider before going to the cloud. Number 1 is costs. You got to architect in a way that's cost efficient. Number 2, you have to think about security. There are security risks in the cloud, like any IT that you have, right? There's risks in the cloud. How do you make sure, you manage risks appropriately so that you could be effective and grow your business and whatever promised land that you're trying to get to? So a lot of my job is educating, advising, consulting, and then 10 to 20% of the time, I might have like an application go down, and hey, Abdie, the app went down. Come help us figure this out.
Okay.
I might be, navigating Linux terminals, looking at logs, you know, cursing and screaming why I can't figure stuff out.
That's the majority of my day.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's not making sense, you know?
Yeah, it's not working. It worked on his machine. It's not working on mine.
What's going on? You know, what's going on?
Yeah.
Is it me? Is it an operator issue? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know, it's a layer 8 or layer 0.
Yeah.
You know?
So you started, so talk about your beginning of your career. Did you start in RMF or GRC? Like kind of explain the process of how you got into cybersecurity.
Yeah, man. So, you know, I went to university. Originally, my plan was to become an economist.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that changed.
What happened?
Oh, man, I realized, like, I got an associate's degree, and I realized that, you know, I had an epiphany, and I had conversations with other people that, you know, to become an economist, you'd have to get a PhD. And to make good money as an economist, you know, it's not an easy thing to do.
10 years. At least 10 years.
At least.
Of hard work.
You want to become like an economist, you got to have a little salt and pepper.
Yeah.
You know? You know, and...
Just a little bit.
You know, and for me, I don't come from a lot of money. So I was like, all right, well, that might not make a lot of sense. And also, there aren't that many well-known black economists. This is the facts. There are a couple that, you know, big names like Thomas Sowell, but there aren't that many big name economists who are doing it big, you know, in the big leagues, right?
Yeah.
And that realization came, so I said, all right, we got to figure something else out. I transferred to university, and I'm like, okay, well, let's do this tech thing, okay? I looked at computer science, I looked at computer engineering, and I realized, I was like, you know, I might have to be in school for a while longer to make that pivot. But then there was a major called MIS, Management Information Systems. So it's a major that integrates both business as well as the technology courses, you know, technology curriculum together. So I switched my major to MIS, and I was fortunate to be a part of NSBE, National Society.
You joined NSBE? Okay.
Yeah, I was in NSBE. Yeah.
I didn't even know it existed till recently. Sorry to say, but I just didn't know. But go ahead.
Yeah, NSBE is a game changer.
Yeah.
I joined NSBE. There, I had the opportunity to meet folks that look like me who are killing it in cybersecurity and IT and different engineering disciplines.
Hold on, we'll stay there for a little bit. So, like, when you got there, you was just like, oh, there's other black people that's doing it.
Yeah.
Like, how did that experience make you feel?
Man, it shocked me. I was like, oh my God, there's black people killing in tech. Because, you know, growing up, when you think about technology, right? I mean, we grew up in a time where watching anime, you were called a nerd.
Yeah.
You
literally
were ridiculed.
Literally.
You know, today, watching anime, you're the cool guy.
It's cool. You know, they have you can make a whole business just watching anime.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, you could, you know, being in tech is cool now. It's trendy.
Yeah, it was
likes it.
It wasn't back then.
It wasn't like that back then. And I also want to give a special shout out to this gentleman named Duane Lightfoot.
I know, man. That's my boy. I love that man. My eyes light up every time I hear that name. Go ahead.
Yeah. For those who don't know, Duane Lightfoot, you know, in my opinion, he's the original. You know,
he's the OG.
He's
the OG.
I call him Big Bro every time I see him.
Yeah. You get the pleasure to. I would lose my mind if I meet that man.
No.
Yeah.
He's such a kind brother, man. Duane Lightfoot. For those who don't know, Duane Lightfoot, he's one of the earliest content creators in the tech space on YouTube, and he would talk about his journey. You know, getting into IT, networking, talk about CCNA, security, Linux, and he just documented his journey. And you know, if you're in the tech, you know, a lot of your favorite influencers or favorite content creators, there's a high chance they know Duane.
They know.
He's the OG, like, you know. So, all is to say, shout out to Duane Lightfoot. God bless that man. You know, just watching his YouTube content alongside being a part of NSBE, that was a game changer. And yeah, man, you know, I was also just very blessed, man, with good young black men, older black men who were kind enough to just pour into me and share knowledge.
That's lovely. So you kind of got a lot of mentorship. And also, did NSBE help with certifications or just provide anything to help you through your career?
Yeah, so what NSBE really came in clutch for was the conferences and the conventions. So during my senior year, because I graduated in 5 years, right? Who's counting? Right? You know, during my senior year in college, you know, I started an IT assistant role for the VP IT at San Diego State University. And during that summer 2018 to like the summer, June to like March, I'm applying for jobs and I'm getting no's. I'm getting nothing but no's. I'm applying for every job, every IT tech related job. And, you know, it was tough, you know, because you're watching your friends get jobs, you know, your friends are getting engineering, you know, opportunities. Your friends are getting accepted for master's degree programs, and here I am trying to get one job, and I'm like, I can't, what's going on? I was fortunate enough to be a part of NSBE. I had a strong sense of community, and the folks that were in NSBE, you know, and also I want to give a shout out to my parents, my siblings. There were also a strong sense of support as well, and you know, going to the NSBE convention there, I interviewed like 5-6 companies.
Oh, you did?
You know, and
oh, damn.
that only happened because I had the right support system who helped me tweak my resume and who helped me prepare for the interviews. And also just NSBE itself, the organization NSBE, you know, it's one of the few organizations that at conventions, at conferences where they hire on the spot and they're looking for talent. And, you know, I interviewed with different companies and, you know, had about, call it 2-3 offers by the end of it. And yeah, you know, I had a couple offers with different organizations, and I picked the one that made the most sense, not just financially, but career opportunity-wise. And I moved from San Diego to Florida.
Okay.
And, I started my first GRC role. And I kid you not, man, that first year, it was a little tough. Not just moving away from family, you know, not just, you know, navigating a new environment, but also being in a role where, like, wow, this is boring.
Yeah, it's really boring.
It's monotonous.
It's really.
Like,
Trust
I'm
me.
paid for pushing, man. You know, I'm paid for pushing. I'm pushing, you know, I was responsible for preparing ATO packages, right? So for those who don't know what an ATO is an authority to operate, signed by an authorizing official, AO, from the government. With that authorizing official saying with an ATO, when you get an ATO for a program or platform, they tell you, hey, I'm authorizing this system because it meets the minimal security requirements specified by some government agency, right? And yeah, man, I was responsible for managing all the documentation. Any changes?
Dang, and that's your first job too.
First job, yeah, all the documentations for a platform.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And you know, it was boring, yeah, but I didn't realize the value of it, because you know, as you know, with cybersecurity, right? A part of a successful cybersecurity program, regardless of how big or small your business is having strong change management. And I was in charge of the change management. I made sure every update that happened to a documentation that we had, I made sure that that change was documented. Who did it and why was it done? And you know, that exposure to business continuity plans, to system security plans, system security administration guides, that exposure for that first year, just doing that documentation, it was really good for me because it humbled me. Right? I came in with a little sense of arrogance, like, hey, I've worked in IT before. I got this in the bag. I'm about to average 40 a game. It's not, you know.
Lakers in 5, or you
know, it don't matter. Lakers in 5. That's the energy I came in with. It was humbling because I had a mentor of mine just say, hey, and you do understand, you got to start somewhere. Right? There are people that don't even have jobs, and I'm over complaining about, you know, pushing documentation. So it gave me a holistic sense of security. Not just from the, you know, hands-on hardware IT side, but also on the policy procedure side, because you can't have a strong cybersecurity posture if you don't have healthy level of policies and procedures in place. Culture as well. So.
No, I agree 100%. When I first came in, and I came in GRC too, it's a boring position.
It was boring, bro. Good God.
It's boring.
Staring at the screen, reading the documentation.
All day.
Redlining.
and guess when I came in when you had to do it. It was literally the ATO was due in like a week.
Wow.
And I was like, what is this? And then my basically at the time it was like, you need to submit this ATO, and I'm like, what do you? I don't even know what an ATO is. So you had to submit you know, you got to put the topologies. Yep. I don't even know who to talk to.
Yeah, the architecture diagram.
Yeah. So like with GRC and RMF, like he was saying, like a thing about it is it helps you with the documentation, understanding the system. Because like without it, you won't understand how a program works. And do you think that helped pave the way for you to move on for any other roles?
Yeah. So by being in that role, it gave me another lens of cybersecurity, because I used to think cybersecurity is really just, you know, hardware, network devices, you know, software applications. No, it's actually there's psychology. Cybersecurity psychology. There's, you know, cybersecurity culture. You know, cybersecurity leadership, how do you create a culture of security awareness, for example? So it's all different domains of cybersecurity. And I realized, you know, with that, I pivoted into my next role, and I was doing like auditing. And that was fun. right?
We'll stay a little bit. I just want to ask a couple more questions on the GRC side.
Yeah.
So like doing this role, like you was talking about the psychology side of it. Like you have to learn how to talk to stakeholders. You got to learn how to convince them that this is what needs to be needed. So is that some of the things that helped you in that role too?
Yeah, for sure. You know, help me understand that, you know, when you're trying to drive adoption, drive change, you have to understand that, you know, when you talk with the engineers, you have to understand that their priority is getting a product out the door. That's their number one.
That's all they care. Yeah.
That's all they care about. They oftentimes, not all, but they can care less about how much it costs. They can care less about the security, right? And this isn't an insult to engineers. It's just their directors, their VPs told them, hey,
it's their job.
It's out the door, not today, not tomorrow. I need this out the door
yesterday.
Get it out. And they have this pressure to meet these deadlines. So you have to be, as GRC pro, security pro, you have to be empathetic to that, right? And the better you understand them and what their goals are, the better, you know, you can meet them where they're at. And that's when the negotiation starts. You know, if you're saying, hey, you know, we can't remediate this now. Can we put a plan, or can we put a plan of action?
Poem,
right? You know, poem, plan of action, and milestone. Can we agree for this next quarter, can we get this done? Or in this next sprint, can we remediate this in this next sprint? And matter of fact, I won't just expect you to remediate it. I'll also help you in the remediation. I'll guide you on what exactly needs to be done. We can work together on that. That, I have found that to be effective when it comes to doing GRC. Approaching it from a lens of partnership.
Yeah.
Right? Not, you're not compliant, you go figure it out.
Basically.
Go run it and hang out on this side. Yeah.
Facts. Cause like even with me, like originally I used to beef with my engineers. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, y'all niggas do. You said we beefing.
Scrap it.
So what I learned, just go sit down with them. Go talk to them. And then after that, they start talking to you more relaxed. You know, that's how you felt too, right?
Yeah. When I first started, I used to say, hey, you know, you need to be compliant because if we're not compliant, we're not going to get an ATO. And that approach, although what I said, there was nothing wrong with it, but it's how we say it, right? I'm coming in trying to influence engineers. I haven't built a rapport with them. They don't even know who I am, right? And I'm not saying they need to know your personal life, but they need to know that you're on their side, that you support their endeavors.
Basically.
Right? I need to know, like, hey, I'm getting this product out the door. Are you also committed to that? All right, now that we agree on that, now let's negotiate and have this conversation.
Let's negotiate. And then worst case, I can CC your boss, you know what I'm saying? Worst case scenario, you know what I'm saying? But
hopefully it doesn't have to get there.
Hopefully, thank the Lord, you know.
Yeah.
With like GRC and RMF, because it's different. The government is RMF, but I feel like it's all the same to me. It's the same stuff, but
It's actually doing the same thing. There's industry frameworks, compliance frameworks across the industry. You know, you got SOC 2, HIPAA for healthcare, PCI DSS for a payment card. It's essentially the same thing. It's you know, it's risk management and meeting minimal security requirements based off of industry frameworks and industry regulations. That way you're not fined, and that way you can do more business.
Yeah, and then can you explain like what do you do in this role? Like what do you do in GRC? Because a lot of the audience they don't know. So
that's a good question. So there's different components to GRC. There are folks who are they're architects, so they built out architecture diagrams, and they make sure that they work with the security team, and they make sure the architecture itself is compliant with RMF or PCI DSS, et cetera. Right? There's the GRC architects. There's folks who are GRC engineers, so their job is to automate compliance requirements. You know, they come from a system engineering type of philosophy approach, and they embrace systems thinking. So they automate compliance processes. So think about the POAM. Instead of you going inside the spreadsheet, they automate a tool for that, right? And they embrace like DevOps. You know, so that's a GRC engineering. There's folks who their jobs in GRC is just to do audits, right? So their job is to do security audits. So you know how you have the stick audit, right? With Nessus, ACAS, for example, and you audit systems, and to see, okay, have they met the minimal security requirements necessary to get that ATO? If not, okay, now we have to figure out a plan of action to remediate these compliance gaps that we have. So, I did a mix of all that, and
you was well defined. Then you was getting an architect. I haven't to this day. My boss tried to get me into it, and I was like, this ain't for me, because he told me how to. What is this? I forgot the tool that you use to create them. But he was trying to get me to do it. I was like, that ain't for me, man.
I would say I didn't do a lot of architecture. I did a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Like an appetizer of it. But I will say, with GRC, there's a lot of range. there's a lot of ranges of activities you can get into. You know, some roles could be a hybrid. Some roles you could be an auditor and also be responsible for policy creation.
Yeah.
Right. You might have to draft a system security guide, or that, you know, you might have to be the individual that drafts the system administration guide, or the you know, business continuity plan. I think in DoD we call it continuity of operations.
Yeah, something like that. Coup plan or contingency plan. Coup contingency or something like that.
Yeah, So you know, interchangeable, but you know, disaster recovery. You know, you might be responsible for that. So, you know, I was grateful and fortunate I got exposed to different aspects of GRC, because it made me understand that ultimately security is ultimately a game of risk management.
Yeah, basically,
that's what it is.
That's all it is. You're managing the risk.
You're managing risk.
Even if you having like some type of debt, like even like a debt or something like that, but you're just managing. We're going to have risk no matter what is risk.
Yeah.
This is a risk too. The camera cut off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's risk.
You know what I'm saying? At some point, you know what I'm saying?
You know,
so
I could have got hit by a car on the way here.
Yeah, it's a risk.
You know what I mean? You know, it's ultimate risk management, because you know how it is, Chris. Like, as security pros, you know, sometimes, you know, we believe we're the most important department, you know, aspect of the business.
Yeah.
But when you understand that security is a game of risk management, you understand that businesses have other risks to think about. Reputation risk, operational risk, cost risk, right? Is the business even profitable?
Yeah.
Right? We can't even talk about security if we're not even profitable.
Yeah.
We're broke right now. You know, we need to make some money.
It can be on the bottom, and like you said, cybersecurity. We in the government, it's like we're good with the, you know, salaries and things, but you know, other places they don't care about it. They'll go give it to a vendor to manage it, and you see how that goes.
Yeah, third party. Yeah, third party without vetting the third party. Which gets in the third party risk management.
You heard about Bank of America situation?
What's going on?
Basically, it was a couple months back. Bank, I think it was the bank. Don't quote me. It was some bank.
Some big.
And they sent it out to a third party. And they paid like $5,000 a month, but basically all their stuff got corrupted. You know what I'm saying? So, of course, that's going to happen.
Of course, that's going to happen. Like, if you're going to use a third party, you definitely got to do your homework.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, GRC is a definitely interesting space. And, you know, when you approach security from a risk management lens, now you understand, okay, what risks are going to be appropriate? Because executives, they're not talking in, you know, vulnerabilities. They're not talking in, you know, firewalls. They're not talking in server Linux operating systems, Windows operating systems. They're not talking in that. They're talking about, okay, how much risk do we have? How much advertised risk do we have? Is this an acceptable risk? That's the language that they're using.
That's all they care. And you have to learn how to talk to them in that way. Because at first when I was talking, I was just talking. But now I learned when I have a meeting now, I write down the who, what, when, where, and why.
Yeah.
So that I'll never, ever fail in the meeting. Because, you know, you say you got to come prepared. Because I was getting, let me tell you something. I got on this meeting with all the GS-15s, all of them. I was on the meeting.
GS-15s is the government.
The high level ranks. And it was a big meeting because I was leading the contingency plan. Keep in mind, I'm new. And it was so embarrassing on that meeting that my PM hit me up. He said, dang, Chris, you blew that. Because it was bad. That's my first time, though.
Yeah.
So I'm like, dang. I almost quit. I almost quit my job after that. But, you know, you got to keep it moving. I literally almost quit, you know what I'm saying? So,
no, those it's one of those things, right? It's like those days are what builds the character, right? I've had my fair share of those. I approached the full stack DevSecOps engineer. And I said, hey, you know, what are y'all doing for container security? And he said, what do you mean by container security?
He's like, wow.
I was like,
yeah, what I'm supposed to say, you know what I'm saying?
I choked up. I didn't know, because I didn't do my homework beforehand on what containers are. You know, what are the different components you need to secure for container security? And
the containers definitely. I think you can scan them, but even that, hey, if anybody creates it, if you learn how to scan containers in the government, you'll make that's $1 billion business.
Container security is definitely a niche. It's definitely container security is definitely a niche, and you know, it was embarrassing. I felt like an idiot. I felt very incompetent, and it made me realize when you're a GRC pro and when you try to advise on risk, you have to do the best you can to make sure you understand the technology that you're asking about. Again, you don't need to be the expert. They hire other experts for the technologies. But you want to make sure, you know, if you're going to talk about container security and container risk management, at least understand what a container is.
Yeah, because like even like this is what they'll do. Like when I first started, people can get by on you. Because I'd be like, can you update this patch? And they're like, yeah, it's going to take 3 weeks to update this patch. But if you're not what's that word? If you don't understand their job and what they do, they can do the patch the same day. You know what I'm saying? So they know how to spin it. So you got to know what they're talking about. Because I can spin something to somebody that don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you definitely can. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. It's one of those things, man, where, as a security practitioner or a GRC practitioner, the better you understand the technology that you're using, or you understand the team that you're working with, their goals, their culture when it comes to development, systems development, software development. The better you understand those things, and the more aligned you are with what they got going on, you can tell when someone's BSing you.
Yeah.
This is gonna take 6 months.
Yeah. And then you realize 6 months later, like, hey, this don't make sense.
This don't make sense. This is a simple fix. This is I know. I looked at the systems architecture diagrams. I looked at all the systems engineer documentation. What do you mean this is gonna take 6 months?
That's what I'd be like. I'd be in the meetings. I'd be like, yeah, this don't make sense. And I literally say, I start asking questions. But when you start asking those questions, then it'll come out, oh, yeah, we can do it today.
Yeah, for sure. And also, when you come from a place like, when you buy, and this is a cheat code right here, when you're a security practitioner or GRC practitioner, schedule 30 minutes, throughout the whole quarter, 30 minutes, multiple 30-minute sessions with engineers who have significant influence across the organization.
Oh.
When you do that, you say, hey, man, I just started this job. I want to work with you guys, and I want to make sure that, you guys are successful. I don't want to be the reason, we slow you guys down. Help me understand your goals. Help me understand your engineering processes, what tools you're using to develop. That way I can identify the risks early on, and we can address the risks in an appropriate fashion. When you're building, when you have meetings with different stakeholders, different, software teams, engineering teams, when you're doing that throughout the quarter, right? Folks are saying, wow, Chris. I like working with Chris. He's all about teamwork and collaboration and helping the company win. When you approach it like that, because not that many people are doing that, by the way.
They're not.
Not that many security practitioners are taking the time out of their day to schedule time with the engineering teams, the stakeholders, the influencers, within the organization, the change agents, and having that conversation to build rapport. When you do that, you're a game changer, because you can influence. Well, like our jobs, what is it really? It's
influence. It's political.
It's influence.
Yeah. The audience, make sure you listen to that, because that's a real good game changer, because that's what helped me in my career. I'm not going to know everything, but you got to at least meet with these people. They'll educate you. And matter of fact, they'll offend you at some point.
Yeah. They'll, there'll be some hot conversations.
Yeah.
But I'll definitely say, when you have a better relationship, they're willing to educate you.
They will.
And people love talking.
They do.
Look at us. We love talking.
It's probably like 20 minutes already.
20 minutes in, and people love talking, and especially like if you're talking to an engineer, and and they're building a product, they'll love to talk to you about the product. That's their baby.
That's it. Now let me. So I just had a couple more questions on this GRC thing. Like, what are some of the issues you had with GRC? Like just working in an environment GRC. Like, what are some of the working issues you had with GRC?
Yeah, so working issues, challenges I had was not realizing how many different teams you'll be exposed to, right? Depending on what type of GRC role you're in, chances are you'll be working with your legal team.
Yeah, they do.
Chances are you might be working with your procurement team, people who procure software licenses, hardware, et cetera. You'll probably work with your engineering teams. So more likely to work with your engineering teams, maybe HR. So, you're working with all these different teams, and not realizing as a GRC pro, you have to be able to context switch, right? When you're hopping on this meeting, you have to ask yourself, okay, who am I talking to?
Yeah.
Am I talking to a group of engineers? Am I talking to a group of architects? Am I talking to a group of directors? Because the goals might be the same, but the conversations it's going to be tailored a bit different.
It's a little different.
I do briefings with my directors quarterly, and I've had some embarrassing moments where I've gotten into the technical leads, and I've had someone cut me off, say, Abdie, I think this might be out of scope for this meeting.
Dang.
Like, think about that.
Dang.
Hey, Abdie, this might be out of scope for this meeting. A director telling you that what they're really saying is, hey, we don't care about that right now.
Yeah.
We care about this.
Yeah.
How much money is this making us? How much money does it save us? So I'd say one of the challenges I had early on was context switching, and I'm still, we're practicing
Every day.
Still getting better every day. Also, just not realizing, if you work in a security role, you're not the most important. You're not the most important.
You're not.
To the organization. The most important thing is the organization is the people who are making the company money,
Yes, man.
building the products and services. Your job is to support that.
Basically.
And, I used to just get upset. Well, how come they don't care about security? How come they don't care about security? How come they're not listening to me? How come they're not listening to our team? And, good security boils down to partnership. Good security boils down to leadership. We're talking about our directors, our VPs, working together as well. Because it's hard to influence when it comes to security or GRC when, the directors, the leadership within the company aren't even pushing out.
They're not.
When they're not, it's very hard to influence in a positive way. So that was a challenge for me there.
Yeah.
What else? I'd say, fear. I used to be very scared of going a command line, a terminal, log into a Windows machine, follow the STIG, the security type implementation guide. And I'm like, this is a Windows guide. I don't know Windows or I don't know Linux. How am I supposed to do this?
Figure it out. Yeah, figure it out.
Figure it out, and, I'd say fear, sometimes stifled my growth at times. I think, a good amount of fear is good because that's where the growth is, right?
You feel like it's imposter syndrome a little bit?
A little bit, yeah.
Sometimes I feel like I don't belong.
Man, I've had those. I've had every now and again. You'll feel that.
Yeah.
I felt that every now and again. Like the first time I did a director briefing, I'm like, oh my God, I'm about to talk to directors. I've never done this before. What if I embarrass the whole team?
Yeah.
What if my manager's on the chopping block because of me?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's all the things that go through your mind.
Yeah. And I think a little imposter syndrome is good.
Just a little bit.
Because
keep you on toes.
It keeps you on your toes.
Yeah.
It's you feel imposter syndrome because you're not familiar with what you're about to do. The first time you do an interview, the first time you hire someone, the first time you start a job, the first time you do anything, right? You do feel a little bit of sense of unfamiliar, imposter syndrome. I think that's good because it means you're pushing yourself. Now, I believe if you don't feel that sense of imposter syndrome, at least a little bit at times, I think that's a problem.
It's a problem. That means you're just doing things. You're just cocky. You don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
I fear that person more than a person that doesn't. Just a little bit,
And it means you're not challenging yourself, And if you're comfortable doing the same thing every day, you're not challenging yourself. I don't believe people stay in place. It's either you're progressing or regressing. Yeah. There's no in between, So. Definitely. I think a little bit of imposter syndrome I dealt with it a lot more early on, because I was a bit too harsh on myself. Because when you're new, you're not supposed to know everything. You're new. You're entry level.
You're not supposed to know anything.
You're not supposed to know much.
Yeah.
Real entry level.
And they don't care about you. They really truly don't even care about you at the beginning.
Yeah. They're like, no one's pressed for you.
Yeah.
Relax, you're not that important.
You're not that important.
Like because I'm coming from college. I have a little bit of quote unquote clout. Being a part of these student organizations, being the president of this org.
It's like you got.
I thought,
He said you got the.
I thought.
You better let them know.
I thought I was the man. I thought I was the man. And, you go from being quote unquote the guy on campus to congratulations, welcome to the big.
It's humbling. You know what I'm saying?
It's humbling, and I was so hard on myself, and that stifled my growth at times. Because you should be a little bit hard on yourself, hold yourself accountable to high standards. That's good. But being too hard on yourself sometimes can cripple you.
Yeah.
And for me, I felt like I was so harsh on myself. And when you're too harsh on yourself, what that does is now you're scared to make a mistake every time.
Yeah.
And guess what that does? You start making more mistakes.
Just make more mistakes. And it's okay to make. I make mistakes. Even I had an ATO stuff, a mistake we had, but the team fixed it. And a lot of people don't want to be perfectionists. I'm like, listen, you ain't gonna never be perfection in this. And if it happens, just fix it. As long as it don't get to the manager, if you fix it before it get there, that's how I move. But
I think, and a shout out to our managers, our leaders, who allow people to fail, who allow people to make mistakes, because that's where the growth is, right? there's no successful podcast without a bad episode.
Yeah, and you should have seen those first episodes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It took me a while to get to the point now where I can learn how to build stories and talk to like guests like you. I wouldn't be able to interview in the beginning because I don't know how to tailor it, but now I know how to tailor it. So you got to fail in the beginning to get better.
Yeah.
So I had one more question. And so in the government space, like you get clearances and stuff like that. Can you explain to the audience how that can help, grow your career a little bit better? Or
Yeah. So in the Govtech space, we have this thing called clearances.
Yeah.
What the clearance is, it's a pass that certifies that that you have a certain level of trust. We trust you to work on these type of systems. Now, when it comes to clearances, there's levels. There's your secret, there's top secret, and there's beyond that, right? Clearances, they allow you to get jobs that folks who don't have clearances, can't get. And the higher clearance level you have, you're in a small community.
Basically.
Like having a clearance, you're already a part of a small community.
basically
Having a top secret clearance,
smaller?
that's like having a PhD. To be
Yeah.
honest, like the weight of it, because you have a high level of trust. So for folks who are looking to get clearances, number one, obviously you can't get clearances on your own.
You can't.
You can't. If anybody's selling you clearances, run away.
Yeah, you better run.
Run away.
Don't do it.
Run.
It's jail.
You're getting scammed.
Yeah.
It's jail. It's
Yeah,
legal.
yeah,
It's
jail.
legal.
It's jail. Yeah.
To get a clearance, you need to be sponsored by an organization. I believe the organization has to do some type of business with the government.
Yeah, they have to do something with the government.
And so with clearances, if you can get a secret clearance, awesome. That opens up a lot of opportunity for you in the GovTech space. And when I say GovTech, I'm not just talking about, government, the government. I'm talking about businesses who contract with the government.
Right.
Right. And, even folks don't know, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, they look for folks with clearances.
And they give you a bonus too.
They give you a clearance bonus.
Like 30. Some of them, I heard, the max I've heard is like 5,000. Something like that.
Yeah, something
like that.
I've heard some
2,000?
being 5,000. I heard some being 20,000.
Yeah, I heard the 20,000 one too.
Yeah, and just understand, even big organizations like the Microsoft, like the Amazon, they're looking for people with clearances. Even I'll take a step further, like Splunk, they're people with clearances, right?
Even
OpenAI,
they're paying like $300,000
and
right now.
They're looking for people with clearances because these businesses want to do what? They want to do business with the government.
Yeah, and they need them.
Yeah.
They need people.
And they want to, NVIDIA wants to be able to sell their products and services to the government, right? And the government, they have certain requirements like, hey, if we want to do this business for our government systems or the Air Force, the military, whatever branch, right? They have to meet minimal security requirements. There's certain levels of data sensitivity that you got to work with, right? So, I think having a clearance is a competitive differentiator. Definitely if you ever get an opportunity to do a clearance, what I can say for sure is don't lie.
Yeah, just don't lie.
Don't lie. They'll find out. This is the
Yeah, they'll find out.
The government doesn't take L's, bro.
I used to be a background investigator. They'll find out.
be a
Yeah, I literally used to investigate clearances. So, like, literally, I used to come to people's. Let me tell you something.
Wow.
Be careful, very careful when you tell people stuff, because I've heard a lot. People that you think that's your friends, might not be your friend. But in general, don't lie.
Don't lie. Yeah.
Don't lie. Yeah, just
that's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were investigating.
Yeah, I was. I did it for a whole year.
Wow.
Yeah, literally.
So you'd be hey, pull up at this Panera Bread. We'll have lunch.
Yeah, basically. Or I pull up into your job. Literally go into the military base and just interview somebody. Or I interview them and I interview all their bosses. And that's why you gotta be very, very careful about how you treat your bosses and how you work. Because they'll tell it, because they legally have to tell the truth.
Right, yeah, they do.
So that's why I said tell the truth. You know what I'm saying? So
Chris, you used to pull up like, like
the black,
LAPD, is that how you pull up?
Let me tell you the funny part. I had a badge.
Yeah.
And I had to literally show them the badge. Like literally, when I go to certain, and I was a contractor at the time, when I go to certain government officials, they would laugh at it. That's why I didn't always like the shirt, but you had to show the badge, everything,
That's so cool.
Like, hey, I'm special investigator Christopher Okpala. I'm trying to, and when you interviewing people, they'll be shaking and all types of stuff. But I'm like, yeah, of course, it's a for clearance. It's nervous.
It's a clearance can be life changing.
Yeah,
it's a job.
Change your whole life.
Yeah, because let's just like I've heard of stories where people were put in for a clearance, and because they feared the clearance, their job let them go 6 months later.
They will let you go
because hey, you don't have clearance. We can't put you on this contract.
or like you have to do a poly and then you fail the poly. They'll bring you, and this thing I don't like, they'll bring somebody in to do the poly and they're like, okay, if you pass, and if they don't pass, then you lose your job.
How do polys work, brother?
So poly, you have to go to you got to do a polygrapher, and you sit out.
Lie detector test?
Yeah, it's a lie detector.
Oh, that's a poly.
Yeah.
Oh.
So you literally sit there, they strap you up, and basically they're asking you questions to see if you lie.
What if I'm nervous?
All I can say is they'll ask you questions to calm you down.
Oh, I see. They'll smooth.
Yeah, they'll smooth you out. Same thing with you. I asked you about your early life, and then we smooth into the hard stuff. You know what I'm saying?
This guy's
You get what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? See, it's a science to it, you know?
Yeah.
So, Abdie, tell me about, okay, we know we've been talking about GRC for this long time, so can you just tell me your career up until when you got into the cloud?
Yeah, so I was in mainly in the GRC space. First, I started off as an IT assistant at the university during my senior year of college, and then started on that GRC analyst role. Fun fact, actually, my title was information assurance engineer.
Okay.
And, you know, I don't think a lot of people know this, but the term cybersecurity came from the marketing world. Before,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I was talking to this brother by the name of Dr. Mansour Hasib. He's the author of Cybersecurity Leadership. Definitely recommend his book. And he broke it down in his book saying that cybersecurity was more of a marketing term. You know, the people in the academia and in college, university were researching quote unquote cybersecurity. You know, they were looking into mainly information assurance. Granted, you know, information assurance is focused on non-repudiation, integrity. You know, those different components. In comparison to cybersecurity, tends to focus more on, you know, network security, IT security type of thing. But so my title was information assurance engineer, and whenever you hear the term assurance really just means confidence.
Confidence, okay.
You know, how confident are we in the integrity of the information that we have here, right? That's when you hear quality assurance. Mm-hmm. How confident are we in the quality of the hardware, the software that we have here, right? Or security assurance. How confident are we in the security controls that we have in our environments? So my first title was information assurance engineer, and then we had a rebrand moment inside the company. Hey, your job titles have changed. I said, all right, here we go. That was like 6 months in. So my title became cybersecurity engineer, and then you know, eventually I became a senior cybersecurity engineer working on classified program, you know, and then I transitioned from that to, you know, cloud engineering.
Okay.
And, you know, the transition to cloud was mainly because I was looking around, you know, just looking around, you know, in the industry and saying, hey, what's the industry trend? You know, and a lot of companies, you know, every company has their own IT technological strategy. If you don't have a tech strategy, you know, you're not in business. That's, right? If you don't have a tech strategy, you're not in business.
Basically.
You know, so
especially in this
digital age, if you don't have a tech strategy, you know, you're going to be in shambles. So I'm looking around and I'm saying, okay, every company, regardless of how big or small they are, they're using some type of cloud. Right? Some companies, they're born in the cloud. You know, we call that cloud native. So as in, you know, they don't have any on-prem IT. It's a startups, and their IT is all in the cloud, right?
Okay, so okay.
And there's nothing wrong with that, right? You know, to go cloud native. But for larger organizations, right, big companies, legacy companies that have been around for a while, you know, they might have a hybrid approach. So they have on-premise IT, which is the traditional way of doing IT, and they also have cloud. They integrate both of them together, which is good. There's nothing wrong with that, right? So for me, I realized, all right, I need to get in a cloud role. Something I didn't mention, I was also in a leadership development program.
Oh, you was, okay.
And you know, and I got into that my second year in my career, and that accelerated my development, not just from a technological lens, but also from a leadership lens, because it helped me realize the importance of having leadership skills. Whether you're a technical individual contributor or you're a team, you're a person managing teams, everybody across the chain of command can lead, right, in some capacity. So, you know, that leadership development program also played a role in me getting curious about cloud as well.
Okay.
And all the, you know, the cloud practitioners, cloud enthusiasts on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, you know, that helped out a lot. And I got into my first cloud role. I forgot to mention, one thing that helped me get that cloud role was that when I interviewed for the position, I told the manager, said, hey, I only have on-premise IT experience. I don't have any experience with cloud, but I do have some certifications. He said, you know what? Just because you have these certifications, I know you don't have the skills for the role, but because you're in this leadership development program and because you have this track record of doing good work within the company, I trust that you're going to do what you have what it takes. You're going to do what it takes to be successful in this role. So people will tell you certifications don't matter. I argue that certifications do matter in a sense that it shows that this person is learning. They're constantly upping their skills. Hands-on projects are also important, right? That's the best thing you need to do. But certifications, they are relevant. They do have value.
I agree, because like without a certification, especially in the government space, you want to get a job. And then too, with the cloud, if you don't get the certain certifications, how you going to prove that you know the cloud?
Right. You can talk about your projects, However, the certifications, what it does, it gets you through HR, right? The hiring manager, they're more concerned about do the person have the skills. But, it depends on the hiring manager too as well. But my hiring manager, he's all about hands-on, and he said, hey, just because you have, you have these certifications, I trust that you're going to continuously learn, right? That's the main theme.
It's the continuous learning.
It's the continuous learning. It's less about just having the cert. It's more about, are you constantly developing yourself? Are you approaching your career development like a professional instead of an amateur?
Basically. Because even with me, I'm always continuously learning. Like most topics I know the CEO in the Pentagon just signed something to create something called SWIFT to help the RMF process and just use AI to kind of push that process. So you just got to stay up to date. LinkedIn's a good source too.
LinkedIn's clutch.
I love LinkedIn.
Like the internet has democratized, has lowered the barrier to entry for so many of us.
It has.
And, like 20 years ago, there weren't people online that looked like us, much.
It was very, like Dewan Lightfoot, that's it.
Yeah, you had Dewan Lightfoot back in the 2016, 2017, right? There just weren't that many of us, and now today you have the opportunity to connect with not just folks within your country, but all over the world.
Literally over the world. Like that's how I'm connected to all these, especially yourself. Can you dive into the cloud and explain to me like what the cloud is and how does the government use like FedRAMP or something like that to get compliant for the cloud? Just to kind of go into that.
For sure. So this is gonna be a long answer if that's okay.
Yeah, that's cool. Break it down.
So first, when we hear the term cloud, well, what is cloud? Ultimately, cloud is just IT, but the way you access that IT is different. So traditionally, when you built an application or you built a platform, right, you needed IT, you needed hardware. What's some examples of hardware?
Computer or something that's hard. Like basically it's it's a type of technology.
Right.
Yeah,
that's hardware. You need cables.
Yeah.
You need AC, electricity in the data center. You need routers, you need switches, cables, you need firewalls, you need all that, right? Now, instead of you having it on your premises, that's what we call on-prem IT, right? The traditional level of IT, getting the hardware on your premises, say, hey, you know what? I want to get access to this IT, but I don't want to be responsible for managing this IT, this hardware. Now, what you do is, you have another company manage the hardware for you, right? And that's simplified. That's what cloud is. It's the on-demand delivery of IT. Using a pay-as-you-go pricing model, and you access that IT over the internet or a click of a button,
just
click of a computer.
All that in what they call the cloud. Okay.
Yeah, that's what they call the cloud.
Okay.
Now, the benefits of cloud, there are different benefits of the cloud. If you do it right, it can be cheaper. It can be, much faster because traditional way of doing IT, you have to order the hardware, you have to guess the capacity. With cloud is you pay as you go and you get to scale up and scale down. So that's one of the benefits of using cloud. So that's what cloud is. Now, when you hear of Amazon Web Services, you hear about Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud, Alibaba, Oracle, IBM, right? These companies are what we call cloud service providers, aka CSPs. Okay. Their business model is they provide cloud services to different companies. And obviously the big three is AWS, Azure, and GCP.
And Oracle.
And Oracle, yeah, Oracle's pretty big too. And not that long ago, AWS was the clear number one.
They were for a long time.
They were dominating the cloud space because I think they joined in 2005.
Yeah, it was early before it even existed. Yeah,
I was a youngin.
Yeah,
I still am.
Yeah, You ain't an old head. You ain't an unk yet.
Not an unk yet.
Yeah,
Not
unk.
yet.
Yeah. You ain't unk.
I ain't unk yet. I'm on my way.
Yeah.
I'm actually an uncle. I actually have.
Oh, you are an uncle.
An uncle. Yeah, I have.
Well, you ain't the cookout uncle yet.
Not yet. I'm allowed to be on the grill for 1 hour at a time, but they haven't let me become the grill master.
Do you got the slippers?
Not yet.
Okay, you don't got those.
Okay.
Okay.
Pretty soon though. Pretty soon. But yeah, cloud. There's different cloud service providers, and people often ask me, "Hey, what cloud should I learn?" Well, first, have a basic understanding of what IT is, and then pick any cloud service provider. That's what we should do.
Oh, okay. So like in the government, the government got into the cloud. They have to be compliant.
Yes.
How do you get compliant with cloud in the government?
So that's a good question. So yeah, part two to the answer, right? So cloud compliance. So before we had GovCloud, it was only Pub Cloud. Right? Pub Cloud is also known as commercial cloud, right? The difference between Pub Cloud and GovCloud is that Pub Cloud is available to you, me, everybody across the world, right? Now, GovCloud is only available to individuals who do business with the government. Right? If you're a government contractor, agency, you can get access, to GovCloud. The difference between PubCloud and GovCloud is that, number one, GovCloud, one of the main differences is that GovCloud, every IT service within GovCloud has been certified and approved by our friends at FedRAMP.
Yeah, they've been approved ahead of time.
Yep, and every service that's available in PubCloud, just because it's available in PubCloud, doesn't necessarily mean it's available in GovCloud. So what do I mean by that? Just because a certain service in AWS that I use every day for my basic application, right, that I have on my own AWS account, just because that service is available, that AI service or whatever managed service is available in PubCloud, well, now when I work with a government entity and I'm using GovCloud, it might not be there yet because FedRAMP has it to certify and approve. So FedRAMP, for those who don't know, FedRAMP is the governing body and organization in which their sole focus, their job is to certify cloud services.
That's it.
And they stamp it and say, hey, these cloud services, they meet the minimal security requirements, that we have in the government. So, it's a lengthy process for every cloud service to be approved. For, organizations that do big contracts with the government, to build satellites, jets, helicopters, for example, or any government technology, chances are, there needs to be, they have to use GovCloud because of the level of data sensitivity they're working with. And, GovCloud is very important for, a contracting organization because, again, there's different levels of data sensitivity that we're working with.
And it's like, because when you talk about data sensitivity, you talking about like aisle 4, aisle 5, you talking about that's the approved sensitivity, or you talking about like a CUI or.
There we go. Like
a CUI secret. Okay.
Yeah, CUI, secret, top secret, right? And also, I talked about PubCloud and GovCloud, right? There's also Secret Cloud.
Okay, I never heard of that. I never heard of that one. Yeah.
Yeah. And, so I mentioned PubCloud, right? All the services are available in PubCloud, right? Now in GovCloud, every service in GovCloud has been approved and certified by our friends at FedRAMP. Now Secret Cloud is even a step further, right? Meaning like there aren't even that many services available in there, right?
Dang.
And it's only for programs who are doing top secret, FBI, CIA.
The top of the top.
The top of the top, right? As in it's very, very, very small. So that's a Secret Cloud. And those are for, like Amazon has their Secret Cloud. Microsoft also has their Secret Cloud. I forget what the terminology is, but it's all interchangeable. But yeah, so, there's this Pub Cloud, commercial cloud, the stuff we all use every day. And there's Gov Cloud, and there's Secret Cloud. So Secret Cloud, you can imagine the security requirements there are even more stringent.
It's probably hard. Yeah, that's interesting. So like with the government now, I noticed that we're going more to the cloud.
Yeah.
I know right now there's not that many jobs out there, but I think in September, that's when I think they're going to be open.
Yeah.
Can you explain like how somebody can prepare to get a job in the cloud when that happens?
Yeah. So cloud is very important. Having on-prem IT knowledge is very important, right? However, it's going to be hard to get in that job, for a cloud role when someone has on-prem IT and cloud experience, right? There's still a lot of on-prem IT roles, even cloud practitioners, that interface with a data center here and there. They might work on a cloud migration, might be doing a cloud security. They might do a on-prem audit in their job, who knows, right? But cloud is very important. cloud, understanding how the philosophy, the mindset, tied to, because it's the same, but it's also different, right? The way you approach your on-prem IT, you can't approach building applications in the cloud the same way.
It's a whole different situation. Trust me, I know. Like, even the topologies and it's a whole different situation.
Yeah.
I'm doing it now,
Yeah.
migrating to the cloud, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, that's why they're paying more for like people that have experience with the cloud now. Yeah.
Yeah, and with cloud, right, it's a different approach, because you'll notice, right, there are a lot of monies that went to the cloud, but they wasted so much money because they approached it like we're doing on-prem.
Yeah.
Right? For example, you have, you're thinking, when you're on-prem, you're thinking about servers all the time. In the cloud, you shouldn't think in servers, right? You should think in services, right? And, with cloud, I say, I definitely encourage people, to look into cloud service providers, understand, what are the main components of cloud, right? Cloud architecture. What are the benefits of cloud? What are the different niches that exist in the cloud? Right? There's cloud security, and even that's a whole other domain.
That's a whole. So you're just saying pick a niche, what you need to figure out, and and get into it.
Yeah, I recommend first to get a general understanding of what arena you're playing in, right, and then figure out what that niche is. With cloud roles, they're very, in my opinion, they can be. It's never boring. There's a lot that you can learn in the cloud, because when I just say cloud, right, there's millions of roles, types of roles in cloud, right? There are people who are, cloud administrators, cloud developers, cloud engineers, platform engineers, cloud security engineers, cloud AI engineers, right? There's so many different components to cloud. So, I definitely encourage people to learn basic IT fundamentals. Again, you don't need to be an expert in CCNA routing and switching, CCIE, you don't need to, but understand what is networking. What is a router? What is a switch? What is an IP address? What is DHCP? Ping. Why do I need to ping the server? Because before, I learned that, when you're trying to do a Nessus or ACAS scan, right? First, ping the server.
You gotta ping it first
to make sure that the scan that you're about to do is gonna work.
What is it, like IF config on Windows? What is that? You know what I'm saying? That's what it is.
Yeah.
Just gotta ping to see if it's something there.
Ping if the servers are on, right? So just those basics, those fundamentals, and I tell people, that LeBron James, arguably the GOAT, we can leave it arguably. We're gonna let the folks debate that in the comments. And I'm gonna chime in too. Don't worry. Even LeBron James, as great of a player he is, or Kobe Bryant, or Michael Jordan, right? What do they do in every game before the game? They're practicing layups.
Yeah.
These are professional, elite basketball athletes. They're practicing layups, and they continue to practice it, because the better you understand your fundamentals and reinforce those fundamentals, the better your game, aka your engineering skills, will be. So, even the best, like I know chief engineers, I know and they're distinguished engineers, and the philosophy is the same. I'm not sure if you heard this gentleman by the name of Kelsey Hightower.
No.
Hightower. So Kelsey Hightower, he is a pioneer, and he was a distinguished engineer, like top of the top at Google. He happened to be black, and he built one of the main tools being used by big companies today called Kubernetes.
Oh yeah, I know Kubernetes.
Right, the container orchestration platform. And he built
that.
He
helped his family good.
He good.
Yeah.
And he, mind you, he's a distinguished engineer. He hit the pinnacle of what engineering is. He's built the platform tool that
everybody uses. Yeah.
And he's known as that guy. He's like the Michael Jordan of containers. And for those who know, he's like the Michael Jordan in tech. Like, that's how big of a deal it is. He is black history.
Because I know Kubernetes, it's like, it's one in its own,
Yeah. It's his own thing.
Yeah.
And Kelsey Hightower, the distinguished engineer, the Michael Jordan of tech, is saying, hey guys, double down on your fundamentals.
Basically.
Understand your IT fundamentals.
But listen to that guy.
And, so if you're approaching cloud, my recommendation is, revisit your fundamentals. And now, once you understand what IT is, how it's a revenue generating, a business asset, right? How businesses leverage IT to solve business problems and push their missions forward. If you understand that and learn cloud service provider, and understand cloud concepts, get a certification here or there, build out a project, you'll be in business for a long time.
Okay. Can you tell me what certifications will help with the cloud?
Yeah, so there's different certifications that exist. There are cloud agnostic certifications. meaning that they don't belong to a certain cloud service provider. Like for example, HashiCorp. HashiCorp, I believe HashiCorp just got bought by IBM like about a year ago. They have this certification called Terraform. So Terraform is this tool. I don't know. It's an infrastructure as code tool. So traditionally, you know, when you have servers, right, your hardware, your on-prem IT, you have to buy the hardware of the servers, right? And in cloud, what you can do is you can click some buttons to create your service VMs in the cloud. Now imagine instead of you clicking within the console, what if you just created, you know, a code template and that created your service?
Okay.
That's infrastructure as code. And that's what Terraform is. It's an infrastructure as code tool that you can use across different cloud service providers. So Terraform, you could use it for, you know, AWS. You can use it for Microsoft. You can use it Azure. You could use it for Google Cloud, Alibaba. You know, almost any big cloud service provider you can think of, you can use Terraform for that. So I recommend if you're looking to get into like something like cloud engineering or cloud analyst, cloud administrator, you know, those type of roles, you know, definitely look into something like Terraform. Also look into a cloud service provider. Again, there are different cloud service providers that exist. I recommend just pick one. Pick one, right? Pick AWS, get certified AWS. The associate's a great certification that gets done for that foundational knowledge. And then they have like a cloud practitioner. Then you have, you know, solutions architect associate. Those are definitely both great. I have both. You know, I also recommend building a home lab as well.
Oh yeah, you definitely had to build a lab.
Because the lab, right, the certification is good to get the theory, get the knowledge, get the badge, right? You know, like Pokemon, I gotta catch them all, right? You know, you get the badge. Now you got the badge, all right, but you also have the home lab, the projects, and that you're documenting and sharing on LinkedIn. That also helps a lot.
Yeah, that helps a lot. Yeah, now I respect, because even like I've worked with some people and just creating projects, and you know, everybody's watching. People don't act like they don't be on LinkedIn. I be having people tell me about stuff I put on LinkedIn that I forgot about. You know, so people pay attention.
People are paying attention, and you know what's beautiful, Chris, is that you know sometimes you might feel discouraged on posting.
Yeah.
People are scared to post. You never know who's watching.
Cause even with you, like you had hit me up and you said I like that you prayed, and I was like,
yeah, that was dope.
I was nervous I was even putting that on there because I didn't know. Yeah.
I think it's beautiful that you were able to share your faith and what your faith means to you and how that's allowed you to be who you are and build this great platform that you have. I thought it was great. I thought it was cool. I'm like, wow, he's praying. He's not shying away from who he is, from his identity. So you know, I'm Muslim. I pray, you know, and I believe our faith, you know, it allows us to be the great people we are today.
Yeah, it just shows that you don't care. You know what I'm saying? So it shows that you don't care and you'll do whatever. Even if like the algorithm, like, oh yeah, you have to put this in the front or put this in the back, you know, just do it.
Like I don't think, you know, I don't think we need to shy away from who we are. You know, I believe you're Christian, right?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you're Christian. Yeah, you shouldn't shy away from being Christian. You know what I mean? You shouldn't shy away from being Muslim or whatever.
Just be who you are.
Be who you are.
Be yourself.
You know? And I thought it was beautiful that you did that. And I thought, you know, and I think you inspired a lot of people to not be shy.
Thank you.
Of who they are. So
thank you. I appreciate it, because I really truly do not care what people be thinking. You know what I'm saying? Like I truly don't care. I think everybody at this point realized this. You know, I be saying some crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But sometimes, like, you know, it can go a little too far.
Yeah.
You know,
can't care too much.
Yeah,
care a little bit.
Yeah.
Get that feedback going on.
Yeah.
But not care too much. Just caring too much will cripple you.
Yeah. Let me ask you another question. Like, how much can you make in this role? Like, what's the lowest end and what's the highest? I know we don't care about salaries, but just so we can know.
So cloud, like entry level on cloud, you can make, you know, anywhere between 50 to 80, 90K, anywhere, entry level, it's anywhere. And mind you, factor in location, right? You could be in San Fran, you could be in Miami, you could be in New York, right? I'd say anywhere between 50 to 80K, around there, right? It could be more, it could be less, right? But generally speaking,
like 50, 80K.
Around there. Now, could you crack six figures on your first role? You could.
Yeah.
But those are, in my opinion, those are anomalies.
It took me 5 years to even get. You know, it takes usually like 5 years. You know.
It's not. Yeah. It's you know. Good point.
Yeah.
I want a level set here.
Yeah.
If you do the math, you look at the statistics. There aren't that many people in this country making more than 50 to 60,000.
For black men, I think it's 5%. for in general 10%. I think it's 10%.
For black men?
Yeah, no, in general, but for black people it's 5%.
Yeah.
So even like these women be like, I want a black man that's tall. Number one, if you're over 6 feet, you're like the top 10%. Then you want to make 6 figures. You ain't finding nobody because all those men are pretty much taken. You know what I'm saying? At that point.
That's a good point. There aren't that many brothers making that type of money.
Yeah.
So I understand, like, when you see people online share the wealth, share the money and everything, just understand, and again, you should strive to make as much as you need to, as much as you want. But just understand, right, like, you're not a failure if your first fall wasn't 6 figures.
It's cool.
It's okay to start at 60, 70, 80K. It's okay to start somewhere because you making 50, 60K, you make more money than most of the country.
Literally.
Again, I get it. Inflation, prices are high, eggs cost, like $1 million, right? But just understand that, it's okay to start somewhere. There's no shame in that. There's no shame in starting, 50 to 60K. There's no shame in that. There's honor in that. You got to start somewhere, and you're not a failure if you don't start off with making 6 figures, number one. But I can say, tech, I tell people tech isn't get rich quick, it's get rich eventually.
Yeah, eventually.
It's not a hustle. It's not a hustle, Granted, tech was booming back in, 2021, 2020 during the pandemic where, there was a bunch of money was cheap, interest rates were low.
Vacation, everybody was going on vacation and working.
It felt like the whole world was in tech.
Yeah, literally.
I'll be honest, I thought it was good because it exposed a lot of our people to tech and how you could build wealth and how you can create a sense of community, and create opportunities for folks here, right? I thought that was cool. But a lot of folks are not realizing, oh, no, tech is not get rich quick.
Yeah.
Tech is get rich over a period of time, right? And, in the cloud space,
that's a whole different beast.
The money can get crazy. Like, I know an engineer, an architect making $500,000 a year. I know a distinguished engineer making above $1 million a year.
They the best of the best. They had to work to get to that. They had to work to get because your expense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they had, and I don't know, like that type of money, right?
That's NBA money.
That's NBA. That's athlete level.
Yeah.
Money, which is why I tell people, like, when you're approaching your career, approach it like an athlete. Approach it like an athlete. Be a professional. Schedule a time throughout the week to learn, to sharpen your skills, invest in your skills and your education, because that's what's going to keep helping you grow and make the big money.
Because even me, I was doing an interview the other day, and like interviews are changing now. Like where you have to actually show. So they wanted me to write out the entire ATO process, and it took like 3 hours to do because I had to literally write it out. I had to go through the controls, and so the interviews now is based off of what you know how to do at this point.
Yeah.
So I was surprised. I was like, I had to write this. It took me 2-3 hours.
Yeah, I think with interviews with job interviews, because that's a good point. I'm thinking we're gonna see, like, it's kind of like let's just say you're using ChatGPT, AI, some type of AI, a generative AI tool, right? I think they're gonna want you to do stuff by hand during the interview, but on the job you're probably using some of those tools.
Some of them,
but I think we're gonna see more of, like, hey, whiteboard this for me, write this down for me, walk me through the thought process.
I want to know that. That's even with me. Like, even when I do work with some clients, that's what I do. I just we're going to just do it. Because I'm not going to be that person, oh yeah, I'm going to talk about JRC RMF, but I have to actually show you what we're actually doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not about to be like, because most of them, they just go through they go through the 7 steps of the RMF and that's it.
All the way to the authorized step.
Yeah, that's it. Are you passionate about tech, cybersecurity, social change? Join the Tech Woke movement on Patreon. Get exclusive access to discussions on emerging tech trends, cybersecurity insights, and valuable resources to help you get hired in tech, learn from others in the community, exchange ideas, and gain skills that will help set you apart whether you're a developer, enthusiast, or looking to break into the industry. This is your space. Support the movement, stay ahead of the curve, and be a part of the change. Join us today on Patreon.com/TechWoke. I see you there. So Abdie, you told me about the cloud, GRC. You kind of broke all this down. Like, what do you do in your personal life, man?
Personal life, I'm a big time animator.
Oh yeah, you do?
I'm a runner.
Oh, you're a runner.
I'm a runner.
Oh, you look good. I was like, a skin shining. What you drinking? Water? Drinking a gallon every day? Or?
I try to drink a gallon.
Okay, so that's why it's shining. I was trying to figure that out.
Skin is shining.
Yeah, I like a skin shining, man.
Hey, it's
You like your G.
Praise God.
GQ.
We're doing it, baby. We're doing it. Appreciate you, brother.
No.
It means a lot. I'm gonna tell my mom, like, Mom, Dad, thank you for your great dreams. I appreciate y'all. Don't let it happen.
I feel you. Now, tell me, you tell me about what anime you watching. Cause I know you was telling me what one was you watching. I know you watched Naruto. You watched all the big ones.
I watched quite a few anime growing up. These days I've been really hooked on solo leveling and One Piece. Growing up, I watched a lot of Yu Yu Hakusho. I watched a lot of Dragon Ball Z, and some of my favorites are those ones I mentioned. Bleach was pretty good, but actually, did you watch the last season of Bleach?
Not I was trying to wait because you know how they stopped it? They stopped it midway and then they went, I'm like, man. But I didn't watch it. Was it good? Actually, I think Aizen got out of jail, right? Spoilers.
They freed, spoiler alert, they freed Aizen. And I'm not gonna lie to you, like this last season that I watched, I'm like, wow. Like this is pure cinema right here.
It's literally a movie.
It's a movie.
I saw it on TikTok. I saw like clips on TikTok.
Bro, you see that black guy with the gun?
Yeah.
Bro. Sniping people from millions of miles away, dude. Just like pop. Like I'm like, dude, this is pure.
And I think what's that dude? Hibachi or Hitachi or something to do with the eye patch. Whatever. You know what I'm talking about.
Karaku, yeah.
The big dude, he used to had a girl in his back, and we talking about Kampachi.
Bro.
This man beat somebody that had imagination. He imagined him breaking literally a comic. He just destroyed a comic. I saw that. I was like, is this real?
Right, that was crazy. Yeah. So Bleach is one of my favorite. Solo Leveling is pretty good. Have you watched Solo Leveling?
I need to get back into it. I saw the last thing he was fighting the Ant King or something like that.
Yeah, bro.
But I saw because he had literally the S-class heroes went down there. They couldn't do nothing. He just popped in and beat them all. Like, oh yeah, they still fighting, right?
Bro, did you see how he pulled up there? Like he was chilling on a roof on the other side of the country, just hanging out. You know, having a cup of tea. Like, man, they're getting smoked. They should probably teleport over there and see what's going on. My man pulls up. The camera goes to him at the end of the episode. He does a little exchange. Pulls up. He says, "All right, folks,
I'm here.
It's time to get active. It's time to get active."
He was legit chilling.
I'm like, bro, like I'll be honest. Solo Leveling is one of my favorite animes. Like, it's slowly becoming one of my favorite animes of all time. Just because, like, it's there's no filler. There's not a lot of talk. It's like, all right,
it's action.
You pulled up, I pulled up. One of us isn't leaving this room until like the dungeon.
Yeah, you can't leave.
You can't leave the dungeon.
You can't leave until somebody in like Solo Leveling is one of the first animes I actually read the manga. Like I literally read the manga just because it was because I was like episode 1 taking too long. Yeah. And I skipped to it. And I ain't gonna spoil no spoilers.
No spoilers.
Yeah.
But you gotta be honest. Like, They
were straight boxing the whole. I remember in the first season he was boxing somebody and I thought he was gonna lose.
Bro, just like a whole episode of pure boxing.
That was his first shadow.
Bro, yeah, his first shadow. Yeah. Anime is life, man. I'm a big anime fan. One Piece has also been pretty good.
It's getting better now. You see where they at now? They're on a giant island now. So
yeah, I read the manga too.
Yeah. So I gotta make sure I ain't spoiling it.
Yeah, no spoilers. But in the anime, he's fighting the admiral now, and it's so beautiful to see that the last time he fought this dude, he got smoked.
He got smoked multiple times. Like he literally smoked the whole Marine Force.
He smoked the whole.
Almost killed him.
He almost killed him, bro. And now, like they saw each other. And he didn't even let the admiral get a sentence. So he just kicked him straight in the chest and said, "Hey, run it back, bro."
You remember what he told him? He said, "I'm not the same like I used to." You know what I'm saying?
He said, "We're 100 times stronger this time, bro."
It's like if you break up with your ex and she see you like 5 years later. Now it's not the same, baby.
Not the same, baby. Like, I evolved. That Chris ain't the same thing. This Chris is Chris, 2.0.
Yeah, anime's like I'm watching Demon Slayer right now. Demon Slayer is like I can't wait. I say watch the first 5 episodes and you'll be hooked.
So is it one of those like animes like how in Bleach like the first few episodes kind of was slow?
Yeah.
And then it started kicking up where like Byakuya and Renji came in and you're like, whoa, what's going on?
Yeah, it's no spoilers, but this is what hooked me to Boulder scene. Like same thing in Naruto when he dropped the weights. That's what hooked me in on. So,
Rock Clifton.
yeah, when he dropped them weights, I was like, cause I thought anime was weird. So I was watching. You know how you watch? You know how like say you got a girl and she's watching something like Pop the Balloon, for example. Yeah. But you.
Shout out to Pop the Balloon. We got to do the tech one.
You need to go on. Hey, you killing it. I'm gonna let it see you on that. Yeah, hey, Pop the Balloon, you watching? Check my boy out.
Hey, check holla at me. No, I'm just joking. I'm good. My mom will kill me. She'd banish me from the village. I can't do it.
But it's like I was watching it, but not watching it. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, when he dropped the weights, the same thing with Hunter x Hunter. Like when he was fighting a serial killer and took his heart out, I was like, oh, this is nice.
Dude, when he took Homeboy's heart out,
yeah, I was like, what is it?
A little pouch. He said, hey, bro, I got your heart.
He was like, huh? And then he was like, oh, it's right here. Literally had your heart.
Yeah, bro, that was crazy. That was probably like when I got into Hunter x Hunter as well.
I saw that and I was like, what is this? And I realized Gon was a psychopath. Yeah. Like, he's legit psychopath.
He's not your average kiddo. That kid, he active. He's active.
And then so I was watching some podcasts. You traveled to Tanzania and some other, but you traveled too.
Yeah. I did quite a lot of traveling last year.
I saw what you said. You said the water different down there, the fish and everything. I was watching that. I was like, dang, I need to go down there.
Tanzania, Zanzibar is one of the most beautiful places you can go to for vacation. The food there is nice. The people there are lovely. The fruit tastes like candy, bro.
When you say candy, that's a different type. That means in the soil. You know what I mean? The soil's rich.
And like, I come back here, I have a pizza, and I'm about to die.
What is it, Papa John's or?
It was something like I stopped by Chicago on my flat back.
Oh, you there?
And
Chicago pizza not that good.
I had like a long layover, and man, like my stomach hurts and I feel slow. But when I was in Zanzibar, I ate whatever I wanted, and I felt like $1 million. Like, you ever heard that? Like, I felt like I was walking on sunshine.
Yeah. And then, like, cause you feel like there you can eat. Like, I go to countries and I eat there and I lose 20 pounds. Like, literally in a week. I eat here, that stuff be stuck in my system.
Ice cream, cookies, chips, you know.
You're making me hungry.
You know, yeah, probably have to get food after. But like, you're eating all this food and you feel great, you know. But you have like a chocolate chip cookie or an ice cream here. You're like, I'm taking a day off.
It shuts your whole body down. That's why even at work, I don't eat breakfast. And people looking at what's it called? Itis?
Itis, yeah, the itis. Yeah, we got a name for it, the itis.
Because they put so much sugar in that cookie. Like, even with juice. You're not even supposed to put sugar in juice. Like, it already has sugars. It has sugar already.
Yeah, fruits.
Yeah. Let me, and I'm surprised you didn't come back with a wife.
That's a good question.
Man, it's going to happen eventually. Are you single?
I'm single, yeah.
Hey, ladies, man, check out my man, Abdie. Hey. This man is a killer, a speaker. He's a tech enthusiast. You need to check that man out if you're looking. You know,
man, our brother's giving me a referral. See, this is a good man. He leverages his platform to help brothers build community.
Hey,
praise God.
I got to. You got to praise God. And do you have any upcoming speaking engagements you're doing that you do?
Yeah, I got a couple.
If you can tell the audience.
I'm going to this conference called Agile and Brunch. Mm-hmm. It's by my friend. Her name is Nini Bello. It's an Agile conference, but any tech practitioner is welcome to come. It's called Agile and Brunch, and it will be in Chicago, so I'll be speaking there. I'm pretty excited about that. I'm actually going to be recording a podcast with Omri Davis, Untitled Chapter.
That's my boy.
Good human being, great human being. I love that man.
Loving dude. He would help anybody.
He helps anybody and everybody.
Yeah.
He's a good human.
Doesn't discriminate.
Yeah, and I've got another big one I'll be speaking at called Midwest Con in Cincinnati, Ohio in September. I got a couple other ones in July and August, but those are the ones that I'm pretty excited about. I do speaking engagements. I love talking at conferences, talking about leadership, talking about communication, technology, and I think when we're speaking, it's a golden opportunity to touch the hearts of many people and teach them something. So, it's very awesome.
Inspired.
It's inspiring, yeah. You can touch someone's heart and give them the inspiration that they needed, or teach them a skill that they needed, for them to get to where they're trying to get to. So, I'm excited about that. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram. LinkedIn is Abdie Mohamed. Abdie Mohamed as well for Instagram. My tag is amohamed.elevate. So AMOHAMED.elevate. And you can keep up with me there.
And make sure you check my man out, and people that want to book him, make sure y'all check him out on social media to book him and get him in a speaking engagement. He's very enthusiastic. He knows his stuff. and he take care of himself. So make sure you check my man out.
Yeah.
What is your goals in the next 5 years? And when I ask you that, give me something big. I don't want to hear I'm just gonna get my cert.
Yeah.
Or I'm I'm just gonna just talk at a conference. Give me something that's something that's something that you don't think, something that you know you're gonna do, but something that's amazing. Something like I'm gonna make $5 million or $10 million, or help 1,000 people, 2,000 people. Just give me something.
5 years from now, I'm gonna be married with 10 kids.
Okay, 10 kids. 10 kids. Whoever your wife is, they looking at you crazy. Like, yeah.
I'm trying to beat my dad.
Oh, damn.
My dad, my mom and dad, I have 8 siblings.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you do? Okay. So,
Damn.
damn.
So,
He started young.
I want to beat my dad. I want to beat my dad. I want to be welcome in next plot. But jokes aside. A big goal of mine is 5 years from now, I want to be known as a thought leader in leadership, and I want to be able to speak globally, not just at conferences, but travel to different businesses and hold leadership seminars and training and help businesses and communities across the whole world, grow whatever missions that they have, whatever goal that they have. I want to teach them what leadership is and how they can use leadership tools to get them where they're trying to get to. So yeah, 5 years from now, my goal is to become a global thought leader in leadership, and I want to do this globally. I don't want to do it locally. I don't want to do it nationally. I want to do it globally. Travel the whole world with my family, and be a nomad to a degree. I mean, hopefully have a home out here, live here. But for those who don't know, I'm Somali, and we're a nomadic people, and I want to travel the world, serving God.
I know that.
By teaching people about leadership. That's what I want to do.
You're pretty much there, so. Well, yeah, it might happen right in the next 2 years, maybe.
Man,
two and a half.
That's very kind.
Yeah, because I see it, and I hear people talk about you in the spaces, so it's like you're pretty much there. But we'll see in the next 2 years, because I know it's gonna happen quicker, sooner than later. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I appreciate that, brother, and I receive that, man. It's so important. We all encourage each other. When there's so much negativity.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's so important we encourage each other and push each other to be our best selves.
Because believe it or not, I used to be very negative. I'm talking about like toxic negative.
Yeah.
But I was dating somebody at the time, and she's like, "I'm gonna leave you because you're so negative." And then after that, it changed me, but it made me be so positive now. Like if anybody tells me they're trying to do something, I'm like, "You can do it." The only time I say it, it's like we used to get somebody that's like 300 pounds and they say they want to be an Olympic, in the Olympics at like 25 years old. And I'm like, yeah, that's not, I don't know how that's going to work. They've been training since they was a kid, but other than that, I'm a really positive person.
Yeah, it's so important, bro, because, you know how it is, Chris, right? Like we'll never outgrow our belief system. If you don't believe you can do it, how do you expect to convince the world that you are that person, right? That you can do it.
It's hard to believe. It's hard. Like even if you want to date a woman, right? Yeah. Like a woman wants you to a confident. They're looking for a confident man that's that can lead them. Sure. If you don't believe you can do that, and if you can't even just ask for the number, then you know what I'm saying. Well, what's that going to do?
Yeah.
They can be like, well,
be giving out some good games. Yeah. Oh man, I'm at the game.
You're like low key. I'm giving
like a little subtle.
It's a little subtle.
Read between the
lines. You gotta listen. You gotta listen to what I'm saying.
Take quote, baby. Take quote.
Nah. Okay. So, what is one thing you want to lead the audience with? It can be a quote. It can be a statement. It can be anything. But what you want to lead the audience with?
Yeah, a quote I want to leave everyone with is this quote by the great Jim Rohn, and he would always say, "Do what you can." And do the best you can. So wherever you are in your life, wherever level you are in your career, whether you're a kid or maybe you're older, younger, whatever age you might be, and wherever you're starting, within the social economic hierarchy we have going on here, do what you can, do the best you can with whatever you have. Do the best you can. If you're a multimillionaire or you're someone who's struggling to make ends meet. With what you have, do the best you can. And, when you do what you can and do the best you can every day, you know, that's where the magic happens. That's where the success will come from. It's when you're always doing the best you can with what you have.
I love that.
You know, people say, oh, you know, if I had 10 million today, I'd be doing this, I'd be doing that. Well, with what you have right now, what are you doing with that? It's kind of like tithing, right? You know, you're supposed to, you know, in our culture, I'm Muslim, so we call it sadaqah. Sadaqah. You know, you're supposed to donate a small portion of your income, you know, to your local mosque or your local community. And, you know, the idea is that, you know, you don't say, oh, I'm going to tithe when I make X amount of dollars. No, with the little that you have, whatever you could afford, if you start tithing now, right, that's going to be good for you, spiritually. It's going to be good for you because you won't be too attached to money, right? If you want to make crazy money, you got to learn how to invest in yourself and let money go.
I agree.
Right? And, you know, I really believe, brother, like, you know, with what you have, you can make something happen. You know, if you're starting out in your tech career, or you're trying to get in, you know, you could make some magic happen. You could do some big things, you know, but it's only going to happen. The goals that you have, you'll only realize those goals on the condition that you do what you can and do the best you can every day.
I love that because, like, even when it comes to video or cyber or whatever, like, even when I started podcasting, what people don't know, I had another YouTube channel that was doing thousands of views.
Did you really?
Yeah, literally. Is
YouTube famous?
Yeah, I'll show it to you.
Yeah.
But I did that. I was doing thousands of views. I was actually making some good money. It wasn't even monetized. I was monetizing off of referral links.
Right.
But those videos were horrible. Yeah. But I did the best I can. You know what I'm saying?
You started where you're at.
Same thing with Tech World. If you go back to the old videos, it's literally your iPhone. Think of the iPhone right now. It's the same iPhone. You know what I'm saying? So do the best that you can. So you just got to start somewhere. Even when cyber, when you get into cyber, you're not going to know everything. Do the best you can. So I'm going to take that quote too, because you ain't going to be the smartest. You know, do the best that you can. You know
where you are. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yeah.
You got to start somewhere.
Yeah, Abdie, I really appreciate you coming on this podcast. You're very inspiring.
Thank you, bro.
Doing speaking, cybersecurity, and being a thought leader in this space. You know, I can't wait to see what the future holds for you, especially what you told me you want to do, which is going to come really, really soon. So I appreciate you for coming on the podcast.
My brother, God bless you, man. I appreciate you a ton, man. And I want to also just give you your flowers and, you know, encourage you to keep on going, because what you're doing, you know, this, what we're doing here, what you're doing here, this is a service to humanity.
Appreciate you.
You're helping so many people, you know, from all walks of life.
Yep.
And all over the world, you know, through your platform, you know, and you're doing these interviews, you're giving the knowledge for free at no charge.
Yeah, no charge.
All you ask people is to like and subscribe.
Just like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe, you know, and that's all you're asking for. Like and subscribe, maybe share it with a friend, right?
That's it.
You know, and it's a kind and noble act that you're doing. So, you know, I want to encourage you to keep going. And I want to thank you for sharing your platform with me, man.
No problem. I appreciate you. I'm going to keep going just as long as I can, and just keep putting out the knowledge. And I don't care if I help one person or inspire one person.
Yeah.
It's going to keep doing this. You know, it's not about money for me. If I wanted money, you know, I can.
Oh, for sure.
I make more money in my career. Yeah. I make more money in my career.
We talked about this.
Yeah, I was like, so I appreciate you.
For sure, man.
Remember, everybody, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. Like the video, comment down below, join the Tech Woke newsletter. Also, check out the Patreon if you want to get any episode like this one early and get any videos that I don't normally put on YouTube on the Patreon. Also, check out the techwokepodcast.com to check out any episodes. Also, to get some of the merch that we got for Tech Woke. And remember, everybody, get 1% better every day. Peace out. I'll see you on the next one.